Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of Supah Sobah Sports. As you probably realized today, we did upgrade Matt Dunn to fully active and healthy, but he had some problems with his Wi-Fi and the audio was unclear, and yeah, it was just not going to happen too good. So he's probably not going to join us until he figures that out, or we get back into the Herx Ponderosa. And then also our buddy Supah Sobah Steve Coughlin. Just end up being a no-show today. Unless he tunes in middle of the show here, maybe we got a little special guest, but we're not really too sure here. How are the boys doing today? How you guys doing, Lardy and Flower?
I'm good. How are you, Matt? How was your day today? Good?
It was good. Yeah, living the dream.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready to rock, ready to roll.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I was with Steve earlier. He's doing all right. He'll be all right.
Yeah. I mean, we're all sure he'll prevail. But, okay, so we're going to start off today's show with some headlines. The 2020 class of the NBA or the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame was just announced. Three big names that are headlining is Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, and Kevin Garnett. Obviously, Kevin Garnett's a big one for most of us Boston fans. I'm just going to go through some of their accolades that some of these guys have. Kobe Bryant is an 18-time NBA All-Star. He's an 11-time All-First Team NBA. 5-time champion, 2008 regular season MVP, MVP 2 times for the finals in 2009 and 2010. He had an 81-point game, which still stands as the second most points scored in a game in an NBA game. He's 4th all-time in scoring. He has a 9 all-time first-team defense NBA, 2-time gold medal. And then Tim Duncan, he's a 15-time All-Star, 8-time first-team All-Defense, 5-time NBA champion. He has 3 finals MVPs. He was the MVP of the league in 2002 and 2003. 1998 Rookie of the Year coming out of Wake Forest University. He's also the only player to have 1,000 wins on only one team. And he was top 10 all-time in blocks and rebounds. He has 3 gold medals. And then finally, leading up with the hometown favorite here, Kevin Garnett. He has 15 All-Stars seasons. He was a champion in 2008. He's a 9-time first-team all-defensive player. 4 years he led the league in rebounds consecutively in 2004 to 2007. 2008 Defensive Player of the Year. 2004 MVP, which was at the Timberwolves, where he led the league in points scored, field goals made, rebounds. He's 9th all-time in defensive rebounds, or total rebounds. 2000 he won a gold medal, and he's played 21 seasons, 4th all-time in minutes played. So what do you guys think about this class here? I mean, this is going to be one of the better classes we've probably seen in our lifetime. Would you guys agree?
I mean, yeah, I think this is probably the best class we've ever seen in our lifetime. And it's getting to a point now where, all these Hall of Fame inductees are guys that we grew up on. It's not the guys our parents grew up on anymore, but we specifically remember watching Kobe, KG, and Duncan play. Kobe obviously responsible for that 2010 heartbreak Game 7 to the Celtics, and I still think if Kendrick Perkins was healthy, we win that game. But most importantly, KG, I mean, he was responsible for that 2008 championship, or he was the best player on that 2008 championship team, and pretty cool to see him get inducted. And next year, the Celtics said that they'll be putting his number in the rafters. So, good for KG.
Yeah, for sure. KG, yeah, Boston, everyone loves him. But I'd kind of disagree with you in a sense that I wouldn't say he was the best player in the 2008 team. I think it kind of shows the type of player he was, because that was a little bit past his prime when he was winning MVPs and scoring titles, but he was still the absolute motor behind that team. The leader, the captain, he's just vocal, and he's a guy that everyone wants on their team. So KG, yeah, he's a legend. He's a beast. Tim Duncan, yeah, some would argue invented the backboard shot. He is just Mr. Fundamentals, what they call him, and easily the best Spur of all time, and one of the best players that have stayed with the team for that long. He really changed the organization. But yeah, and then Kobe Bryant, obviously, rest in peace. But he was Kobe. Not a huge Kobe fan, but he was Kobe.
I want to ask, who did you think was the best player on that 2008 team? And I also want to say rest in peace to Kobe. That video that Vanessa, his wife, put out the other day. Just want to say respect to that. Took a lot of strength. Tough to talk about that so recently after his passing. But I do want to know, who do you think was the best player in the 2018?
What do you think, Matt?
I think I'm still going with Paul Pierce. That was Paul Pierce's team. I believe he was the heart and soul of that team. I mean, obviously, you guys got like KG, Eddie House, a bunch of other guys who were rah-rah and all that. But, I think 2008, it was still Paul Pierce's team. And obviously, he had Ray Allen and KG helping him out. And then, honestly, I think once 2010 hit, I think it started turning into Rondo's team up until like 2012. But, I'm just going to briefly touch on a couple of my thoughts about these guys. Obviously, Kobe with the Mamba mentality, he would close games. People forget that, like, early on in his career, that he would always guard the best scorer on the other team towards the end of the game. People don't really remember him for his defensive side of the game. People always just kind of thought he was kind of a ball hog. And, I mean, he wasn't really great in the assist side, but he played a lot of defense. Then Tim Duncan kind of just falls under the radar a little bit. He's this quiet guy. Like, KG said something about he's like the worst guy to like play against because he doesn't talk trash back to you, as KG was known for talking trash. And I thought there was some funny comments in there between that. But let's get back to Flabo here. Who do you think was the best player on that 2008 Celtics team?
Yeah, see, I think this is almost where the torch is passed to Rondo in a sense, because he stepped in and he definitely controlled the ball on the floor. I don't know if he led the league in assists that year or what, but that's when he made himself known for that. And I think that Pierce, yes, maybe the most talented still, but I think Rondo controlling the ball and learning how to facilitate the three of those players was really the key to that team. And I think that's when you saw the next couple of years Rondo really broke through and showed himself how good he was for a couple of years.
I agree that Rondo was the key to that team and that it was Pierce's team. Pierce won the MVP, the finals MVP that year. But I think still, when it comes down to it, KG was the heart and the soul.
Intimidation.
Oh yeah,
it was a crowning moment for Kevin Garnett and an illustrious career, which I'm glad that it happened in Boston. But yeah, also can't forget about Ray Allen.
Yeah, no, best shooter of all time.
So that leads us into our our second topic here. We're going to start breaking down all the Boston sports contracts in the upcoming and the near future and some of the outlook on these teams. The first team we're going to start with here is the Boston Celtics, which, I mean, everyone's been saying, this team, they got the young talent, the oldest guy in the player is Brad Wanamaker. He's 30 years old. After getting rid of Kyrie, the Kyrie, in my personal opinion, I think just slowed down this whole process about 2 years. I know you guys might feel a little different about that.
No, that's how you really feel, because I think you feel a little stronger than that.
Yeah, no, I am not very too fond of Kyrie Irving. But anyways, so let's start talking about some of these contracts here for the Celtics. Obviously, you got next year, Gordon Hayward has a player option to pick up $34 million, and then he becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2021. He's going to pick up this contract. It's an easy money for him. How do you guys feel about the Hayward contract? Him getting $34 million next year.
Yeah, like you said, he's going to pick it up because that would be the only logical thing to do for him, because he's not going to get that in the open market. I want to talk badly about that, but I think it's tougher to do because I like Hayward, and he did get hurt, and I think had he not gotten hurt, maybe he would still be worth this now. He's still on an upward progression, I believe, which is good. He looked good this year. He's not the best player on the team, which I think is good for him. But the problem being he's making best player on the team money, so we're going to see how that's going to go in the future. But, yeah, it's a little bit too much, but like you said, it's not going to be much of an option.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he picks up that $34 million option. There's really no other option for him because you're not getting that anywhere else. But like you said, he had that horrific leg injury first game as a Celtic, which probably set him back a little bit. But I do think Gordon Hayward is a piece on this team and can be a piece on a championship team. but I do think he has to take a step back as maybe third or fourth best player on this team. But it's tough when you're getting paid $34 million and that's, best player money. But, I like Gordon Hayward here.
Yeah, so definitely it brings into a tough thing here with the cap space with Celtics. So they're kind of in a little bit of a predicament here because Jason Tatum, he's making $10 million next season, and then he's a restricted free agent. So, people are planning. We're going to give him a very good offer. We should be able to give him a pretty good max deal, but a lot of people are concerned about him not really saying much about the city or anything, saying like how he loves to be like a Celtic or he loves Boston and stuff like this. And then that's exactly when we're going to have to pay Hayward as well if we want to keep him. So he's going to have to take a pay cut, take one for the team if he wants to stick around here. So what do you guys think about that? Because we got a steal on Jaylen Brown, and he's signed all the way through 2023. He's only making, I think it was like $28 million or $29 million in his final season, and then but also there's a little debate there between how's Brown and Tatum gonna feel because they kind of came in, a year apart, and how's they gonna feel compared to that when Tatum gets paid a lot more money than Brown does?
Yeah, no, you definitely made a couple good points there. So the first one with Tatum, you brought up something I didn't know if you were going to say it or not. But the question is, when has Tatum expressed that he loves Boston? Not as frequently as one would like to think, because I think as Celtics fans, and I think Danny Ainge, everyone's on board, we're willing to pay him whatever the max fee is at that time. But like you just said, has he ever made it clear he wants to stay with the Celtics? I know we haven't really considered that as an option, but maybe he wants to test the waters of free agency. And as to the Jaylen Brown thing, I don't think you hit it right on. Those two have kind of came up together, Brown being a year older, but now that Brown has emerged as a superstar in the NBA, how is he going to feel if Jason Tatum, is making way more money? Probably not great. They have to share the ball along with Kemba Walker and, like you said, Gordon Hayward. So I think that's going to be interesting to see. And as for Hayward's next contract, he's absolutely going to have to be willing to take a pay cut unless something crazy happens or he wants to test free agency. But no, it's going to be an interesting free agency in a couple summers.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Hayward, I think it's either you're going to take a pay cut or you're gone. But, today, it's not saying much, but Tatum donated some money to St. Louis, his hometown, and to Boston, obviously. But, I do think Tatum wants to be here. I don't get the sense that he doesn't want to be here. And I do get the sense that him and Brown are at least friendly and can play together. But, in a year, we might have to give Tatum the max contract. Who knows what he does if he's an all-NBA type of player. And who knows what happens with this season. Once the season was canceled, he was putting himself into all-NBA third-team discussions. But before that, you could argue that Jaylen Brown was, having just as good a year. But, I think the Celtics get it done and at least lock down Brown and Tatum, which I think are the two most important things to lock down for the future, obviously.
Yeah, so last couple of points I just want to hit on here before we move on to the next team being the Bruins. Brad Wanamaker, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent after this year. He's the oldest player on the team at 30 years old. Obviously, Gordon Hayward's probably going to pick up that player option, so he'll probably still with the team. Then also, Semi Ojeleye, he has a club option next year. And then if not, they don't pick it up, then he's going to become an unrestricted free agent. So there's a couple people to keep an eye on.
I see them picking up that Ojeleye option over the Wanamaker option.
Yeah, I think Wanamaker's gone.
I think they should honestly drop them both and roll with the 4 rookies they just drafted.
Yeah, I think they both may be gone as well.
I'm an Ojeleye fan. I'm going to go on record right now and say.
Yeah. All right. Well, what were you going to say?
He can defend. You know what I'm saying?
He did shrink a little bit this year, too, to become a little bit better shooter. There's a lot of people were considering him as like a safety and stuff, and he was too jacked to shoot the ball, but neither here or there. All right, so now we're going to move into the Bruins here, who I actually think are the best money situated out of all of the teams in Boston. as a lot of their main players like Marchand, Bergeron, Coyle. Who else is there? We got Pasta, and all four of them are like basically locked up for like the next like 3 or 4 years at least, and they have no trade clauses in their contracts and all this. But one big topic here with the Bruins for the next couple of years is going to be the goalie position. Obviously, we've had a ton of experience with Halak and Rask being in goal there. But there's rumors of Rask maybe even retiring after this season if it doesn't continue, even though he's got another $7 million contract coming up next year. Or maybe retire after that. And then Halak's 34 years old, and he's made $2.75 million this year. We're going to have to pay him a little bit more if we want him to stick around. So do you guys have anyone else who sticks out to you in mind for the Bruins?
Yeah, not too familiar with the goalie free agents coming up, but where the Bruins are at right now, like you said, I think it's a great position. I would take it as a year-to-year basis for the goalie position right now, because we have the best duo in the league right now. And, they're both old. They're actually 34, 35 is pretty old, but goalies can withstand that for a little bit. So I would play it by year kind of thing. I think we're Stanley Cup worthy this year, hoping the season finishes. But next year and the year after, like you said, I think one of the best contracts that you didn't talk about was the McAvoy contract, because I think he's the number one defenseman. He's took a huge pay cut. I think he's only making about $4 million a year. So that's huge. We have a 23-year-old number one defenseman secured for the next 5 years, as well as the first line, which you mentioned, which is the best line in hockey. So
Coyle got that big contract. McAvoy's he's a restricted free agent in 2021.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, Coyle's the one they paid $5.25 million for like 5 years.
Gotcha. Okay, but the Bruins are in pretty good shape.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think, again, when it comes back to those goalies, I don't know about the free agents coming up, but I think you should be able to convince Rask or Halak to stay, and with this young core, be Stanley Cup contenders for the next couple of years at least.
Yeah, a couple more points I want to hit on here. Also, Andreas Bjork and Jake DeBrusk, who many of you may know, I'm a huge fan of Jake DeBrusk. I think he's going to be one of the best players in the league in the next coming years. He's just fast as hell on ice. So they're going to have to pay them. Bjork and DeBrusk are both going to be restricted free agents, so the Bruins would be able to place in their offers on them. Another thing I'm not too thrilled about is I like Coyle a lot, but I think we just kind of overpaid for him a little bit too much with the $5.25 million per year, with him being like a guy from Weymouth and everything. But I'm not sure. Also, Sean Crowley is going to be an unrestricted free agent after the season. We also have we're very short on the right wing here. I mean, obviously we have Pasta, who's probably the best right winger in the league, maybe besides they throw in Ovechkin out there. But also, I mean, with Case, and I'm not a big fan of Case, who's Pasta's backup on the right side. I wouldn't mind if we got rid of him. And personally, honestly, I'm not really a big fan of McAvoy. I think he's a little soft for his position. And also, Chara, he's up after this year's contract, and he's 43 years old. Be kind of a tough ending for Chara to end, but I think he's been a little slow on the ice and all. But anyways, so let's move into a team that has a lot of potential things they could do within the next couple of years, being the Boston Red Sox. Obviously, with the Mookie Betts trade and David Price. Do you guys have anyone that sticks out into mind to you for the Red Sox before I dive into this a little bit? No.
In terms of that, no. I just want to say something about the Price and Betts trade. I kind of take the other side and think that was a good trade for the Red Sox. Price, obviously, the contract, I think, was way, way too much, on top of him just being an absolute headache. And Betts is another guy. Like, I know you know, Matt, he hasn't been very productive in the playoffs. For a guy who hits like he does, hits the home runs, he's tiny, so he's not really getting the 40 home run guy pay. So I don't hate them sending that trade to LA.
I'm also going to add in here is Dustin Pedroia is still making $13 million this year. I don't know what the deal is with his injuries and everything, if he's going to get on the field, the season starts, whatever. But, then another piece I want to touch on here is couple crazy things that they have for people they're still paying money to. So they're paying Price 16 mil over the next 3 years, or 48 mil, 16 mil per year over the next 3 years. And then we also owe Pablo Sandoval 5 mil this year. And a crazy stat for you guys is we are still paying Manny Ramirez about $2 million per year until he is 54 years old because he stretched out his last contract like that. Which for a guy with the saying Manny being Manny and was kind of a clown and everything, he's actually pretty financially smart by doing that. But yeah, also the Red Sox bullpen, every single person in the bullpen is going to be an unrestricted free agent after this year or have arbitration deals, with Workman being an exception for not having an arbitration. And then you got Barnes, Hembry, and Walden, who are all going to be unrestricted free agents. What do you guys see about this pitching staff here? I mean, we got Chris Sale, who's got a player option for 2023 and 24, who's going to be making $27.5 million if he still sticks around. And then Evaldi's going to be an unrestricted free agent after 2022. And then Erod has a couple of arbitration things going on. So what do you guys think? I mean, they should have some money to spend within these next couple of years.
Yeah, the Red Sox pitching staff is an absolute gong show, and it has been for the last couple of years. Spending too much money on guys who get hurt every year. But I don't think it's a bad thing that they're basically cleaning house or they have no other choice but to. In terms of like a big re-sign, I don't have anyone in their bullpen or in their entire pitching staff that I would be adamant about, like, we need this guy. So I'm open to see what happens because, honestly, the Red Sox pitching staff has been our downfall the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I think they screwed themselves after that World Series championship in 2018 when they signed, Pierce and Evaldi to huge contracts after, and just figured that, we bring back the same team that we had last year, which won, 100-something games and basically swept their way through the World Series, that, hey, we'll just repeat it and we'll just go win another World Series and this will all be worth it. I think that's coming back to haunt them a little bit right now. And that 5-year deal with Chris Sale just kicks in this year, if I'm not mistaken, but I think it does kick in this year. It's a lot. This Red Sox pitching staff is just, there's a lot of question marks, especially in the bullpen. Just didn't perform well last year. And like you say, I mean, they're all basically unrestricted free agents up for arbitration. I don't know.
Yes.
But they got money to spend. So, I mean, let's go spend it. You're the Boston Red Sox. Let's go get a good free agent.
Yeah, Dombrowski's never been shy with spending money. Let's just hope he allocates a little bit better now.
Yeah, so the last two guys I just want to hit on here is Rafael Devers. He's going to be making a little bit under $700,000 this year. I think he's one of the faces of the franchise coming up in the next couple of years. Also, Verdugo is making just a little bit over $600,000. I think he's another player who can make a lot of money. He's got to get his head on his shoulders a little bit better, but he definitely fits in with like the past Dominican history with the Boston Red Sox and some of the players still in the clubhouse. And then Martinez is making $23.75 million this year, and then once the 2021 and 2022 player option comes in, he's making $19.3 million. So the Red Sox will probably try to rework that deal, I'm assuming, and try to keep him around. So the last team we're going to move into here is the Patriots, who are setting themselves up to have over $100 million of cap space going into next offseason, which would be crazy. I'm thinking of how many championships we've won lately and having that much cap space to potentially build another great team. Some big ones to me that stick out are the running backs, James White, Rex Burkhead, and Brandon Bolden. They're going to be unrestricted free agents after this year. Same with Mohamed Sanu and Jamari Bird for more skill positions for the Patriots. And then Hoyer on a 1-year deal, and then Stidham still has his rookie contract for a few years. Do any of those running backs or wide receivers stick out to you guys? If you guys want to keep it around, or what's the deal with that?
I mean, I think the only guy really on that list that sticks out to me is James White, but even in that sense, I'm okay letting him go. But really interesting the Pats have that much cap space because obviously looking for a quarterback. Would like to see what they do with that cap space. If you can go out and get like we talked about last time, Deshaun Watson. And even if this year, doesn't go as well as planned, I don't know if it's going to be the number 1 pick, but if you can go out get Deshaun Watson and plus a high draft pick, and obviously still have some cap room to go to sign, wide receiver, skill position type players, I think they could be right back in the mix.
Yeah, for sure. Out of those guys, like he said, White is the best player, and on most teams, I would say we need to keep him. The Patriots, though, I think a running back is a dime a dozen. I would have thought the same thing about Deion Lewis. He's in Tennessee. He's not really a useful player down there. So I think the Patriots kind of turn any athlete, any good football player into what they need in their system. The cap space obviously is a huge thing. Like he said, we talked about Deshaun Watson, but I think it comes down to this year's draft, and I think this year's draft's huge for the future of the Patriots.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Some other parts that come into here is Joe Tooney and Andrews are going to be unrestricted free agents after this year too, who are arguably their 2 best offensive linemen. And then they have Wynn and Mason signed through 2023 and 2024, which, I'm pretty fond of Wynn, but Cannon and Mason I'm not too fond of. Slater and Edelman are signed and through 2021, and then they're unrestricted free agents. Basically, their whole entire linebacking core is going to be unrestricted free agents next year, including Dante Hightower and Simon. So we'll see how they go with that. Also, their secondary, which is the strong part of their team, is pretty locked up. Besides, Jason McCourty is going to be an unrestricted free agent, and then J.C. Jackson, who's coming off a phenomenal year, but he's a restricted free agent, so I think he'll stick around. So now that we have dived into all of the team's contracts for the next upcoming years, I think it would be a good point for us to debate on, you got one team you can take of the Boston sports teams for the next 10 years, and we're just talking about strictly championships. What team do you think is going to win the most championships, and then rank them in order of which team you think would win the most championships to the least championships within the next decade?
All right, I'll go first. I think the obvious answer right now is the Celtics because, you got that young core with Tatum, Brown. You still got Smart, Kemba. So I'm gonna take them. The Bruins obviously still young, very talented. Pasta, DeBrusque, McAvoy. But after that, who's going to win the championship first, the Patriots or the Red Sox? I'm going to put my trust in Bill Belichick. I don't know if a Super Bowl is coming in the next 10 years, but I don't think a World Series is coming in the next 10 years. So I'm going to put my faith in Bill Belichick and think he may have something up his sleeve and he'll surprise us. Put himself in the mix again.
Flabo?
So I have a couple differences here. I'm taking the Bruins first by a landslide, honestly. They got the best line in hockey. They're all secured for the next couple of years. I think Patrice Bergeron's going to get to see whether it's next year or the year after when Chara retires, but I think that'll be huge just for the team. He's a guy that's deserved it for a while and just one of the best Bruins of all time for sure. And then talking about Bjork and DeBrusque, I think those are 2 young guys they're going to sign, make their even younger roster. They're already at an age, I think, 27, but that's with Chara being 43. So I think the Bruins definitely going to be a team of the future. Then there's the Celtics, which is obviously a huge thing. I think the Hayward contract might stunt their growth a little bit, but hopefully he gets back to his peak and he can do whatever he does because he's a very good player. And then, I'm taking the Red Sox over the Patriots. Dombrowski's always been willing to throw around money like you read about. So the Red Sox have done the worst to first thing a couple times, whereas the Patriots have never really been bad. So I think if they were to be bad, it would take them a lot longer to get good. Where in baseball, people come up from the minors opposed to coming up from college where they can have an impact right away. Baseball, you don't hear guys, and all of a sudden, bang, they're just doing their thing. So I think I'm taking the Red Sox over the Patriots, but I'm going with the Bruins. And shout out Chucky McAvoy, number 1 defender.
So I think you guys are actually going to be very surprised by my list here. I think the Celtics are the least likely team to win a championship within the next 10 years, just because, and honestly, I think they might be the best team out of the 4 teams, but I think they are also in the best league. I think the NBA right now is just full of so many good teams and players that I don't really see them winning one within the next 10 years unless something crazy happens. I mean, at least until LeBron or like KD are out of the league, or Giannis gets traded to the Warriors or something like that. I mean, they're going to be the most fun team to win. I mean, I just feel like they're going to be that 2 seed every single year, and they're just not going to be able to get there. And then my third team, the third least likely team to win, is the Patriots. Next year, I think this year, honestly, would have been a good year to have Brady back for one more year. I think they still have a lot of good pieces. Maybe not so much on the wide receiving core, but I think they'll be able to figure it out a little bit. They're going to have a ton of cap space. They're going to build through the draft. Maybe get Deshaun Watson or whatever. And then obviously it's the quarterback's going to be a huge position. But and then the second team I have, the second most likely to win, would be the Red Sox. They're going to have a ton of money coming in the next couple of years because, I mean, if they figure out Devers and Martinez's contract, and they still have Verdugo under that, the rookie contract for a couple of years, and they add some good pieces to the bullpen. I mean, these guys literally, they just randomly every 2 out of 10 years, they just randomly oh yeah, let's just go all in on this year, and we're just gonna win it. They're guaranteed like two championships per decade. And then yeah, I got the Bruins with the most likely because, I mean, they're just the way that they have their star players all and no trade clause or anything for the next 3 to 4 years. I think they're all set. The only big question I have for them is goalie, but I mean, we never know what's going on with Rask or anything. But yeah, so that's all I got. So I got Bruins number 1, Sox 2, Pats 3, and then Celtics. And then we're gonna move into our last topic here, wrap up the show, a little non-sports topic here. We're gonna be talking about some of the best pizza places in Massachusetts. There's a lot of people who have a lot of different opinions on these. I'm gonna lead this one off here. I'm probably gonna go. I mean, I had Frank Pepe's the other day in Chestnut Hill, and whenever I have that and Pizzeria Regina, the original one in the North End, I always go back and forth. I got them at mid 9s, 9.4, 9.5s. Then I got the Pleasant at number 3, and then there's a bunch of other places that are pretty good, like Santarpio's got to be up there. This place Sorrento's I went to, and Lincoln Sudbury was very good. Can't really think of a bunch of other places right now. I'm sure they'll come to me. But what do you guys got for top pizza places?
Yeah, 2 of the ones you mentioned, Santarpio's for sure, and Frank Pepe's. Those are borderline 9 slices. Actually in the Pleasant too. One other one I'd like to throw out there, which I don't know how I feel about nowadays, is the Halftime Pizza across from the Garden.
Okay, yeah, that's great drinking beer pizza.
That's what I was thinking.
Beer
Yeah,
pizza.
So we were talking sports and we were talking Boston sports, so that's the place to go there. No free ads though. So last time I was there though, it wasn't great. So I don't know how I feel about it. It was sitting at an 8-9. That might be a little inflated by beverages, but last time I was there, it was tough. So I'm interested to go back there once they get the sports back up and going.
Yeah, I mean, halftime was great. I agree. I think it might be a little inflated by the beverages because you're never not at the Garden, a little intoxicated. But Regina, obviously, and Pepe's probably the 2 best. Ducali's.
Oh, Ducali, yep, right near the Garden as well. Yep.
Ducali's in the Seaport District. I think if you guys haven't checked that out, you got to go there because I put that, north of the 9s. I think a 9.2, 9.3. Rosie's in Braintree.
Oh, Rosie's, yep. Tony's Pizza. That's solid.
Roxbury, yeah.
And then we go to some bar pizza too. We got Town Spa, Linwood,
Absolutely.
Cape Cod Pizza.
Cape Cod, yeah, sure.
I feel like we're missing a couple here.
No, we're definitely missing.
Very good. I think Town Spa's a little overrated.
Town Spa is a big time overrated.
I don't think so.
I think it's good pizza. I think it's good pizza.
For bar pizza, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think
bar pizza is a different animal. It's
Get a couple
not.
of beers, play some Keno, get some chicken tenders there, honey mustard. You're good.
yeah. So I mean, that's a great time.
What's the place with the Eagles Deli?
Oh, Pino's. Yeah, Pino's is
You know,
Pino's got to be like 6 or 7.
Good slice there.
I mean, like
Yeah,
ranks in 6 or 7.
yeah.
It's a high 8.
Yeah, Eagles Deli's got them good sangos too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right near there, Amelia's Burritos. Shout out Los Amigos Burritos.
And honestly, I'm gonna make a bold.
Those out.
I think
gotta
for Dedham, Papagino's is the best pizza in Dedham, and that's not saying much.
True.
I think Papagino's is like a 7.5, 7.6, but I mean everywhere else in Dedham is just Greek pizza, and I think they're all like 6.5s.
Yeah, a bunch of hacks over there, especially at D Hack.
Pretty embarrassing scene in Dedham, pizza wise. I think you sleep on the thin crust Uno's pizza.
Yeah, shout out Stevie Coughlin. Maybe a 7-Eleven slice if you're a Dedham slice.
Yeah.
But no, the pizzas now, we're definitely forgetting a couple, but we can definitely get back to them next time.
But yeah, I think that's about all we have today. Make sure to send in your questions to supahsobahsports@gmail.com, or you can send in questions to also our Facebook page. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at TheWickedSport1. And also you can follow our individual Twitters. Also make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page. And I think that's about all we have for today, folks. What about you two? You guys got anything else to add?
Thanks for listening. Send in your questions. Follow us, subscribe, and thanks for listening.
I got nothing. Hopefully the weather stays good and let's fucking get it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a beauty tomorrow, but then after that, I'm not too sure. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show.
Stay safe.